Happy birthday to me. This yoga is very back-bendy. I really hope you like it. Come yoga with me. Let's start in a child's pose today. So normally I say take the knees as wide as your mat. If it feels comfortable to do so, keep your knees in. It will just make what we're going to then move into a little easier. Equally, if knees need to be as wide as the mat, or if that feels more comfortable, you can still do whatever we're doing further on. So set yourself up, spread your arms out in front, fold yourself down, and start to take some deep breaths. This is one of my favourite poses, hence the reason for it being in this my birthday flow, because it's just so insular and grounding, brings you right back down. You can't kind of help but separate yourself from all of the outside external things that are going on when you're kind of down to the mat, just face to face with yourself, and that's it. So take a couple of deep breaths here. And then just let your breath come to a more natural in and exhale through the nose. And just settle yourself in. I invite you to go into the practice today with a sense of fun, playfulness, lightheartedness. You're going to be doing a lot of back bending, but there'll be options along the way to kind of do what you would like to. So just take it as it comes. See what happens. Be open and be playful. Take one more breath here. And then as you next inhale, start to gaze up towards your fingertips. Lift the arms, so you're right up on the fingers, starting to activate the arms. And feed the right arm underneath the left. And then can you peer out underneath this left armpit? Find a little twist. You can really reach that right hand as far through as feels good to you. Just peer out and under. And then from here, we're going to start to lift. We're going to take that left hand back behind us. Right hand comes to the outside of the left shin. And we find a twist. So starting to move a little bit here from our child's pose, from right down on the ground. Then can you press this left hand back behind you? And you're going to reach this right arm up, pressing your chest and heart space up towards the ceiling. You might stay here, you might lift your hips and find a little more. This is quite intense for the beginning of our practice. So see what happens. See where you want to go. Press those hips forward, reach that right arm back if you're lifting. And then release it back to that twist. So ground that right hand to the outside of the left thigh. Find that twist, sitting up and tall here, straight spine. And then gently start to crawl your hands back in front of you to that child's pose. Take a deep breath here. Exhale, release it out. And then inhale, look up towards your fingertips. Let's do this on the other side. So rise up to your fingertips, lift those arms. Feed your left arm under right. Start to peer under the right armpit. Maybe take that left hand through a little more. Really stretch, opening up. And then can you start to transfer this shape? Reaching the body up, left hand comes to the outside of right thigh, right fingertips come behind you. Find a twist here. Deep breath, sitting up as tall as you can. And then ground this right hand behind you. Maybe lift that left arm. Maybe you stay here, find a back bend here, or maybe press your hips high, reach that arm back. Really opening up the body quickly, starting to find those muscles through the back, through the spine. press those hips forward, especially if you're lifting your bum from the heels. And then release it back down. Come back to that twist, left hand to right thigh, sit up nice and tall here, twisting from the core. And then gently bring yourself forward. We're going to come to all fours. Knees underneath hips, hands spread underneath your shoulders. Couldn't do a birthday flow without cat-cow. Forgot briefly what it was called there. The cat-cow, the good old cat-cow. And a great kind of warm-up for the spine. We're like back bending. We're really rolling open the chest, moving in a way that's like kind of unnatural or not as natural to our normal day-to-day. So we really need to warm it up. So inhale, drop the belly, roll the shoulders back, lift the chest. Exhale, press into the fingers, send the spine up towards the ceiling. Inhale, drop belly, roll shoulders back, lift the chest. Exhale, press the spine all the way up to the ceiling. One more time each way, lowering the belly down, rolling the shoulders back. Exhaling, pressing the spine all the way up to the ceiling. Now come back through neutral. We're going to send the right foot back behind us, toes down to the mat, to the floor, and just press back through that heel a couple of times. Stretching out the leg, feeling into all of the toes. Yeah, even that little one. And then reach the toes slightly off the mat. Just take a couple of circles with your ankle, one way and then back the other. And then we're going to take this right leg out to the side, all the way in line with that left knee. And we're grounding it down. So I'm just coming back slightly so hopefully you can see the setup. My right heel is to the floor, toes just in front, and it's lining up to my left knee. Now my right hand, I'm going to take down that right leg and left arm reaches up and over. Find a side bend here. Really press forward with the hips still, and you're keeping this left shoulder open so you're not kind of folding over. Yeah, and you can keep a little softness in that right knee too. Don't completely kind of extend it out. Keep some flexibility there. And then gently release the left hand down to the floor beside you. Keep all feet to the floor. Reach that right arm up and over. So like this side bend to the other side. But can you really press forward with your hips and encourage this slight back bend here? Really opening up the body. Nice, yeah, so finding almost that curve through the spine as you press the hips forward. Deep breath. And then release the hand all the way down and come back through all fours. Lovely. Take a couple more cat-cows here. So a couple of times moving through your breath or with your breath. Through these poses. And then the next time that you come back through center, stay there. Send that left foot back, toes touching the ground. Press backwards and forwards through that heel. Even get that little toe involved. Mine really doesn't want to. Make it get involved, yes. And then lift your left toes just a little from the ground. Take some circles one way and back the other with the ankle. Nice, now bring that left leg all the way out to the side, ground that foot down. Make sure toes are stacking in front of heel. And again, it's lining up with this knee as you rise the body up. And then release your left hand down the left leg. Reach the right arm over. There's a slight pressing forward with your hips as you open up that right shoulder. A little bit of softness in that left knee. Taking a deep breath here. And then release your right hand down to the side. Press those hips forward. So really finding that curve in the spine. And then, if you haven't got space like I have, shuffling yourself slightly and releasing that left hand overhead. Really finding this opening. I love the sensation of back bending. I know lots of people don't, but that sort of releasing, rolling yourself open. Strenuous, but joyous. Gently release that left hand all the way back down. Bring knees underneath hips once more. And walk those hands out in front of your shoulders. Really spread those fingers. Grip with those finger pads. Tuck the toes. Press the hips high. Downward facing dog. And take a couple of breaths here. Any steps out through the feet, through the legs. We've had a lot of opening poses already that have done a lot. So taking a bit of time for whatever you need. Any opening of the hips, wiggling from side to side, little steps. And then can you walk your feet all the way up to the top of the mat, ending hip width underneath you and dangling down here. Anything you want to do with your hands, holding opposite elbow, or even clasping the hands back behind your back. Or like me, just dangling here. Big old bend in the knees. Just letting yourself release and fold. And then tuck chin into the chest. Let's roll all the way up. And we're going to bring our arms high as we stand. All the way up. Exhale, can you bring those elbows wide to find a cactus shape? Really thinking of that chest lifting up and over, rolling those shoulder blades back, elbows nice and wide. Now with your next exhale, can you press your bum back? And as you press your bum back, kind of fold this whole shape all the way down. Nice. Release it to that forward fold. Inhale, lift your hands to shins. Find a lift here. Rolling the shoulders back, lifting the chest. Exhaling, folding down. Inhale, take the arms wide. Lift them high. Exhale, let's find that cactus shape. Send them wide. And inhale here, think that chest lifting up and back, opening up. Exhale, send the bum back, fold this shape all the way down. Inhale, lift hands to shins, find a half lift. Exhale, release. And then let's take it one more time, reaching the arms up and wide. Exhaling, bringing the elbows wide. Inhaling here, lifting the chest. And then exhaling, pressing the bum back, folding yourself all the way down. Inhale, hands to shins. Find a half lift. Exhale, release. This time we stay here as we step back to our downward facing dog. Inhale, shift forward into your plank. Exhale, release the knees to the floor and then sending the elbows back towards you, lower yourself down to the ground. Lovely. Take your fingers wide, so slightly off the mat and up on your fingertips. And as you inhale, lift to a wide cobra. Can you really take the whole of the inhale to lift yourself up? Maybe you have a hair flick like me too. Exhale, release back down. Press those hips, tops of feet down into the mat. Inhale, take your time. Only as far as feels good. Exhale, send it down. Inhale up. Hair flick may be compulsory. Exhaling to take it all the way down. And then bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Inhale, press up to your knees. Tuck your toes. Lift your hips high. Downward facing dog. Okay, let's start to flow. So inhale, lift your right leg and really stretch it up. Use this as like a real opening. Send it high and then step it through between the hands. However many steps that takes. Ground your back foot and let's find a warrior two. So bending that front leg, straight back leg, pressing into all parts of the feet as you send the arms wide, feeling strong and powerful and upright here. As you inhale, start to straighten that front leg, lift the arms up, maybe look towards the side. Exhale, release back into that warrior two. Inhale, rise. Lift the hands all the way up. Exhale, press the air down beside you. Warrior two. Inhale, lift yourself up. Exhale, find that warrior two. Gaze over that middle front finger. Now inhale, flip the front palm, reach forward, send it back. Reverse warrior two, keep that bend in the front knee. Really open up as much as you would like here. Remember, we're thinking about those huge heart-opening poses. Not literally opening your heart or your chest, but really opening this side of the body. And then we're going to bring it back to warrior two. We're going to turn onto the back toes to find a lunge. So high lunge facing the front of your mat. Now, we're going to bring our hands to heart center as we step our left knee into the chest. And then as we exhale, we're going to send that left leg back as you send your hands back with it. A little warrior three variation. Inhale, bring that knee back into the chest. Bring your hands together. Don't worry if you fall out of it. That's totally cool. It's needed, it's necessary. Exhale, send your arms and leg back. Find that warrior three. Point those toes down towards the ground. Inhale, bring that knee back in. Hands together. Lovely, one more time. Send that leg back, arms back. Creating that long T shape, that line. And then bring the knee all the way back in, hands to heart center. Now, can you press the air down with that left foot as you ground it all the way to the mat? Lovely. Okay, we're going to find a dancer pose. Just release your hands out for a moment. Take any wiggles with the shoulders, any shifts from side to side, little birthday dances, little grooves, whatever you fancy. And then we're going to lift this right foot in towards the bum. Okay, so that's the first step, lifting that foot in towards the bum. Then we're going to take our right hand and bring it to the big toe side of the foot, so that inside part of the foot. Press the hips forward. You should feel that activate the quads. Feel it switch on in the thigh. Now lift this left arm high. You could touch your first finger and your thumb together. And now can you start to press the foot into the hand as you press your hips forward? And then once you're pressing as much as you can, maybe you find a little lean forward into your dancer pose. Try and keep that chest lifted. Try not to squish those toes in the standing foot. So try to spread the toes and keep pressing that foot into the hand. Yes. And then gently bring that knee all the way back into the chest. We're going to send that leg back to a lunge to the other side, right? Whew. If you're falling out of it like me, totally okay. All right, we're all here together. Remember that playfulness and fun, which is like the hardest thing to find when you're not feeling like that. But just try a little sprinkling of it, even for a second. We're going to ground that back knee, so lower it down towards the mat and then bring the hands to the floor and just create some space between your legs here. What we're next going to do is reach back with this left hand towards the foot, but you want to kind of be just above the knee on that back leg if you can, so that when you're sending that right foot towards the bum, you're not right on the knee joint. So it helps to kind of get a bit of space between the legs. Ground that right hand, reach that left arm up and back, Maybe it grabs a hold, maybe it just reaches towards. If it's reaching towards, roll that left shoulder back. If you're holding onto that foot, just like in our dancer pose, can you press the foot into the hand as you open your body to the side? Nice. Deep breath here. Maybe you really lift that chest, you find that back bend here. You find that opening. Lovely. Take one more breath here. And then gently lower that back foot, reach that left hand forwards. Okay, we're coming into one of my fave poses. It's not everyone's and it's not for everyone. We're gonna wiggle this left foot over behind the right wrist. So we're first coming into a pigeon. This isn't the pose that I'm talking about, but also isn't everyone's favorite pose. Find your pigeon, but kind of find it with this front foot is slightly more into the body than maybe you normally would. And then press those hips down, really find that connection with your hips and the floor. Okay, so just like we did on our knees, we're gonna start to lift that back foot up towards us. Okay, so that might be enough. You might stay here, you might find a bit of a lift through the chest, and lift that foot up towards the ceiling. You might reach that right hand back behind you and grab a hold of the foot. Really hard, okay? So if you're leaving it here, then leave it here. In complete full, proud of yourself, it's cool, okay? If you're holding onto this foot and you want to find your mermaid, which is where we're going, one of my favourite poses ever, you might edge that foot to the corner of your elbow and then reach this left arm up off the mat, send it back behind your head and grab a hold of the back foot. Try and get those hips to face the front. Oh, it's a deep stretch. It's a lot of back bending. See how you go. When you're coming out of it, just go gentle. Don't flick that foot back if you can help it. Release it gently, and maybe then you just find a bow in your pigeon for a moment. Hard, okay? But birthday, yes. I love back bending and I love mermaid, and those of you who've been to my real life classes know that I love a mermaid. Get very excited about it. But it's not for everyone, okay? So like it's the perfect time to remember that all of our bodies are different. All of these shapes look different in our bodies, I promise. It's kind of why I'm on a platform like this. That's kind of why I'm here, because my body doesn't look like every yoga person's body that you see, right? We're all different. We all have different flexibilities. We all have different strengths. Yeah, we're just different, okay? If you need to hear that today. I do too. Gently start to walk your hands up to your legs, lift your chest, and then tuck your right toe. Press all the way back to downward facing dog. Oh yes. And just take a little walk here. Now either stay in this downward dog or you could move through a flow. I'm going to move through a flow. It's my birthday. I want to still wiggle it out a bit. Do whatever you would like. You can always come to a child's pose too. So coming forward into plank, maybe lowering your knees, maybe lowering yourself halfway to the ground. Pressing up in your cobra or your upward facing dog. And then taking your hips high, downward facing dog. Take a breath. If you're down in your child's pose, come and join us. Find your downward dog. And then on your next inhale, let's lift the left leg high. Reach it up. And step it through between the hands. Ground that back foot as we find a warrior two. Send those arms out to the side, strong and powerful. Bending that front knee, reaching those arms out, gazing over the third finger. Inhale, let's lift the arms, lengthen that leg. Exhale, send it out.
Inhale, rise, bring the air all the way up. And then exhale, press it down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, send it down. And just stay here a moment. Find that bend in the leg. Look over that third finger and then flip the front palm, reach it forward, send it back, reverse warrior. As much of a back bend as you want here. Keep that front leg bending. Yes, you. You've got it. Deep breath here. And then send your arms back out to that T shape, that warrior two. Turn onto the back toes. We're facing the front in our lunge. And let's find that fun little flying warrior variation. So we're bringing right knee into the chest, hands to heart center. Yeah, nice. As you exhale, send the leg back, send the arms back. Point those toes down towards the mat. Roll those shoulders back. Lovely. Inhale, bring the knee in. Hands to heart center. Exhale, take it back. Lovely. Inhale, bring it in. Hands to heart center, knee into chest. Last time, sending it back. Yes. And then bring it all the way back in. Can you press that foot down towards the ground? Nice. Whew. Okay, standing at the top of the mat. Any little wiggles before we find our dancer on the other side? So, right foot staying sturdy into the ground this time. Left toes come towards the bum. And reach that left hand back, grabbing the big toe side of the foot, so the inside of that foot. And can you start by pressing those hips forward? Feel that thigh activate. And then start to press the hand into the foot into the hand. Yes, the foot into the hand. Reach that right arm high if you haven't already, maybe first finger and thumb touch. Press that foot into the hand, not the other way around, and keep pressing and those hips forward. And then maybe you find a little tilt once you're there. Keep pressing that foot into the hand as much as you can. Keep that chest lifted, roll those shoulders back. Lovely work. Dancer pose, bring that knee back into the chest. And this time we're going to step that foot all the way back. Find a lunge. Lovely. Okay, hands to hips. Let's send this back knee down towards the ground. Lovely. And then bring those hands around the front foot. Let's edge that knee back. So remember, when we're moving into this next pose, we want to try and be on the top of the knee, so above that kneecap. Lovely. Take a breath here. And then start to lift the foot towards the bum. We reach right hand all the way back. Either staying here, we can still find that twist, that opening, even if we don't reach the foot. Or press that foot into the hand and use that to turn yourself open. Leaning yourself back, chest opening. Be cautious of your neck in all of these and kind of the poses that we're going to go on to do too. For some of us it feels lovely to kind of release the neck, look up towards the ceiling, but just be gentle with it. Go easy when you're moving the neck. It's totally okay not to keep your neck quite kind of central, not release it back. Just be really cautious. Take one more breath here. And then gently release the foot down. Bring that right hand all the way back. Now wiggle this right foot over to behind the left wrist and come down to that pigeon pose. Maybe checking out that toe behind you. Just check it's not up to no good. And bring this right foot a little closer in than maybe you normally would in your pigeon, kind of depending on where you are or how you feel. Send your hips down towards the ground. Now, first kind of version of this is taking that toe and bringing it in towards you. And that might be it, right? Roll those shoulders back, lift that chest. But maybe you take that left hand back towards the foot and you draw that foot in towards you. Yeah, nice. Finding the mermaid on the other side, maybe bringing that foot, those toes to the elbow, reaching that right arm up, taking it behind your head, interlinking with your other hand, trying to face those hips as much to the front as you can. Take a couple of breaths here. If you can, wherever you are, right? Whatever version of those you're on. And then how gently, how slowly can you move back out of it? Gently releasing the foot. And then lowering yourself down to a pigeon. To a non-pigeon variation that's really testing us. Okay? To a more grounded and a more restorative pigeon. I don't think there's much about a pigeon that is restorative per se for a lot of us. But coming back to something a little nicer. Keep the breaths long here. And then start to walk your hands back towards you. Tuck that back toe. Let's bring it all the way back to downward facing dog. And just use this to really stretch yourself out, maybe walking through the feet. Sending those hips high, finding that kind of hinge with the hips. Might feel really nice after all of that. And then when you're ready, gently lowering the knees down to the mat. And just sitting back on your heels or coming to a cross-legged just for a moment. We're going to find a camel pose. And you kind of might have guessed we found some like almost variations of half camel right at the beginning. And this is a tough one. And it's one that fills a lot of people with fear because we're kind of heading backwards or thinking about heading backwards. So just see how you go. We're going to have options along the way and just see what happens. Your first option is to do kind of what we did at the beginning. So pressing one hand behind you, lifting the other arm, and then lifting the hips. And of course, make sure that you do the other side too. But this could be your first option. Lifting your hips, feeling that hand connected to the floor, really pressing the hips forward, lifting up through the chest. Otherwise, you're going to tuck your toes and you're going to come up, making sure that your knees are stacked underneath your hips. Now, quite a lot of the poses that we've been doing today, I've been talking about pressing your hips forward, and this is no different. Okay, so keep your hands on your hips, press your hips forward, roll those shoulders back, lift the chest. Lovely. Now take a deep breath here. And then can you move your hands to your back? So either fingers facing up or fingers facing down, if that feels better. Press those hips forward, roll the shoulders back, lift the chest. We're thinking up and then over. We're not just sending ourselves back, we're thinking up first. Nice, press those hips forward. And then gently bring yourself up to center and just sit back on your heels. And just sit up tall for a second. Just take a breath. So that's your next option. We've got 2 more times of doing it, and I'll take you up a level each time. But whatever one of those suits you along the way. We had that first one, reaching our hips, connecting the hand. This one, our hands to our back, rolling our shoulders back. Okay, next one, our toes are still tucked. We're going to start in the same way. We're going to press those hands to our back, lower back. Press those hips forward, roll those shoulders back, lift the chest. Maybe keep pressing those hips forward. You then release your hands to your heels. Think up and over, up more than anything. Keep thinking up as you press your chest high, press your hips forward. Take a deep breath here. And then gently bring one hand to one hip, other hand to the hip. Gently bring yourself up to center. Take yourself back on your heels and just sit for a moment. Big deep back bends here today, yeah? Vulnerable places that we're taking ourselves, okay? So just breathe. That's 3 now. We're gonna go up one more level for the next one. Whatever of those you want to do, okay? It might be that you've gone with me so far and now you're like, no, I need to head on back down. Know that for yourself. Okay, don't follow me if that's not where you want to go, I promise. And if you're sitting there like, oh, I don't know what I should do, I am here with you. Quite often do not know what my body is telling me, so that's okay too. Right, we're going to start with the hands on the back. If you're coming with me, we're going to untuck the toes. So we're giving ourselves a little extra space to move back into. Roll the shoulders back, lift the chest, press the hips forward. Maybe then you take one hand to heel, other hand to heel, press yourself up and over. Take a deep breath here. You might have your toes tucked still. You might be pressing one hand at a time to the floor. Wherever you are, let's take 2 more deep breaths. Really think up and over. And then gently bring your hands to hips. Bring yourself up. Sit back on your heels. And just lay your palms facing up. Whether or not you're sitting back on your heels or cross-legged. Whatever feels good right now. And just close down the eyes. And just bring yourself back to the breath. Refilling in a place where now the back isn't bending and kind of wondering where to put the breath, where to move the breath through. Take one more breath here. When we do such intense back bending, we really want to take it slowly and not kind of force our body back the other way. We want to do it in a really kind of mindful way. So can you now take the knees as wide as the mat? So our child's pose is obviously a forward fold, but it's a little gentler on the spine. But just take it slow. So start to walk your hands forward, but really take your time. Just stopping and feeling into things, maybe sending your bum back towards your heels. And maybe taking your arms a little further forward, sending the bum back to the heels. Just taking your time on the way down. My ultimate yoga practice is cultivating a little bit of fire, but having plenty of time at the end to stretch out and relax. And so that's what you're getting today. Getting what I love. Seeing as it's my birthday, it's the one time, right, to really bring you my favourite poses and my favourite way of doing things. So just keep it slow here. Keep breathing, sending those arms out in front of you. But relax the arms. You don't need to keep them active right now. Our focus is just releasing out that back. Bringing us back down. Now gently look up towards your fingertips and just walk your hands over to the left. Just walking them over. Again, be gentle with it. And then fold yourself down now.
finding this kind of side bend. Maybe bringing that left hand beside your left knee to kind of allow you to fold over slightly more to the left. Send the weight in the hips back to the right hand side. So you're stretching over to the left, but sending that weight back down through the right. And then if that left hand is beside your knee, reach it forward once more. Walk the hands back through center and all the way to the right. To find that bending, that side bending on the other side, reach that left hand forward, maybe reaching that right hand back, placing it beside your right knee, and folding yourself over to the right, pressing weight back into the left side of the lower body. Finding that breath. Now gently, if that right hand is beside your knee, reach it forward, walk your hands back to center. And I'm just going to walk back to my knees, sit back on my heels. You could find a cross-legged too here. And we're just going to take some seated cat-cows. So if you're cross-legged, your hands are on your knees. As you inhale, lift your chest, find a little arch of the spine. And then exhale, send your spine back behind you. Find that curve. Inhale, lift the chest, roll the shoulders back. Exhale, spine back behind you. Inhale, reach that chest through, roll the shoulders back, lift the chest. Exhale, press your spine back behind you. And then just come through center and really gently bring yourself to a seat. Soles of the feet out in front of you. And bring your hands out, palms facing up. Find a little curve in the spine as you start to roll yourself down. Can you feel every part of your spine come into contact with the mat individually as you roll yourself all the way back? Lovely. And just take a moment here before taking any other movements. Just pressing that spine down into the ground, down into the mat. Just bringing it back to center. Now take your feet as wide as the mat and sway those knees from side to side. And then bring them back through center. Cross the right leg all the way over the left. So knee is stacked on top of knee. And then bring that shape in towards the body. Maybe you grab a hold of the feet. So this is a kind of upside down Gomukhasana, cow face pose. And you can kind of intensify it by bringing that shape in a little more. Try and keep those legs glued together. And try and keep those shoulders pressing down into the mat. You might feel a really nice stretch down through the bum and the thigh. It's pretty deep. So keep breathing here. Take one more breath. And then release the feet. That left foot is going to come back to the ground, but keep the legs crossed. Edge the hips over to the right. Take the arms out to a cactus or a T, depending on how much space you've got. And lower those knees over to the left as far as you would like. Maybe gazing back towards that right hand, heavying your shoulders down into the mat. And then just breathing. Maybe the eyes start to close here as your body's like, yep. We've reached the point of nice, long, juicy stretches. All ready for that Shavasana. Keep those shoulders heavy and as that base
for your body to twist. And then gently bring those knees up to center. And just bring your hips back to center. Unwrap that right leg. Straight away, let's cross left knee over right. Stack those knees together. And bring that shape in towards the body. Grab a hold of each foot. It's like you're riding a bike or something and they're like handlebars. Like they're obviously not as far out to the side. It feels like you've got like some control of some sort of transport. It kind of feels like a boat. Your knee is like the, I want to say bow, I don't know, the part of the boat. Gosh, my dad would be upset to know that I've got no clue about boats. Snuggle those shoulders back down into the ground. Remember, you can bring that shape in closer to intensify it. But just enough so that you're feeling something. Take one more breath here. And then gently let go of the feet. Bring that right foot down to the mat. Shuffle the hips over to the left slightly, arms out to that cactus or that T shape, and then lower the knees to the right. Finding our twist to the other side, gazing back over the left fingertips if that feels okay for the neck. Wherever you are, grounding those shoulders down. Maybe closing down the eyes. Allowing yourself to rest. I used to quite often doing like yoga classes when I was not in a room with someone telling me what to do, scamper off in these sorts of bits to do washing. It's the most ridiculous thing in the world. But we almost feel like we are wasting time, I think, when we are being still. And it never kind of occurs to us how much value there is in resting our bodies, especially after a class like just now, when we're doing such intense stretches and poses. You've got to bring the body back down. You've got to give yourself that time to be still. So I no longer do that. And if any of you are pondering the same or already doing it, just maybe question yourself next time about like why you're finding the need to kind of busy yourself, why you're scared of being, and not necessarily scared, but why you're running away effectively from this stillness and this rest. Okay, gently bring your knees back into your chest. Sorry, that was like a mini lecture. She's like, oh, come into this fun and it's a birthday, it's all fun and playful, and then she gives you a lecture. I'm so sorry. Unravel that left foot. Hug the knees into the chest. Take any other movements that you need. Happy babies. You could put your soles of your feet together and find a Supta Baddha Konasana. So that's just this kind of lying down diamond shape. Anything that you'd like, but gradually making your way to your Shavasana. So taking your legs out long. I bring mine kind of as wide as the mat. Arms out quite wide, rolling those shoulders underneath you. And stay here. Just be here. For as long as you can, for as long as you want. Closing down the eyes and being still. I really hope you enjoyed this, a little bit longer than some of my normal classes. If you would like more of the same, let me know. Do shout, I love requests. And if you would like to give me a birthday present, subscribe, like, any of the above. That will never get less cringy saying it. Thank you so much for joining me, and have a lovely rest of your day.